Our traditional education system teaches how to be a good student, how to get good grades, and eventually how to land up good jobs. However, each of us is unique. Each of us comes with a particular purpose, and that purpose can be monetized. We can build businesses around that particular purpose. In order to understand more about this, we need to understand the 4 quadrants of any kind of cash flow. Let's take into account the left quadrant and the right quadrant. The left quadrant has E and S. E stands for employed, S stands for self-employed or small businesses. The right quadrant has B and I. B stands for businesses and I stands for investments. So, you can operate out of any one or even multiple of these 4 quadrants. I will eventually get into what each of these quadrants means, but firstly, let us just picturize this in front of our eyes. To remember this, you can use SEBI. S, self-employed or small businesses, E, employed, B, businesses, and I is for investors or investments. So, SEBI, S, E, B, and I. Let's get into what these quadrants are about. In our traditional education system, we are taught to be in the left quadrant, which is the quadrant of being an employee or being self-employed. When you are an employee, you hold a particular job. When you are self-employed, you do not hold a job, you own a job. If, for example, you are giving tuitions, then you are self-employed. Or if, for example, you are, say, a dentist and you are operating in your own clinic, then you are self-employed. You may have, say, one assistant who is helping you in order to operate that clinic. This is something which is taught in our traditional education system. However, if we want to make the shift to the B and the I quadrants, which is the right side, then we need to understand certain things. What exactly is a business about? Any business is about owning particular systems. It's about creating or owning even pre-existing systems. So either you create a new system or you own a previously existing system. In the B quadrant, you also have to handle people. So this particular quadrant really brings out your leadership abilities. Then is the I quadrant. In this quadrant, which is the investor quadrant, money works in order to make more money. One particular distinction between the B and the I quadrant is that in the B quadrant, you do not need any kind of money to make more money. However, in the I quadrant, which is the investor quadrant, money works for you to make more money. So in the B quadrant, you can start with absolutely zero. And all you have to do is identify certain goods or services which will return some kind of money to you. That's all that you have to do, and you can create a business around it. Businesses are created because of passion, because of purpose. And it is possible to create a business with absolutely zero investment, as I have already discussed. And I speak from experience over here. Just understanding that these 4 quadrants are there created a massive shift in my mindset. And once you have this knowledge, which is not there with a lot of people. Even you can do it. It's just that this particular knowledge wasn't with you before you watched this. What does it take to move from the left quadrant to the right quadrant? That is, from being either employed or self-employed to becoming a business owner or an investor. We first need to understand that what is it that is keeping us stuck in the left quadrant. If you are employed, then there is a certain safety and a security that you're looking for. That at the end of the month, I should get paid this much amount of money for sure. So we want that safety and security. If you are self-employed, let us say you give tuitions or you are a dentist, then what are you looking at? You are looking at being a perfectionist. People who are self-employed, they feel that fear of delegating, of outsourcing their tasks to other people, because they feel that I am the best at doing this job. And these two things, safety as well as perfectionism, is holding us back. I too was a part of this, and honestly it has required a shift in the mindset to transition to the right side of the quadrant. It's not even our fault, because we have learned these things from our parents, from our teachers, from our very environment. It's only obvious that we will also think the same way, because these are the things which have been taught to us. If we want to make that transition into the B and the I quadrants, we need to take certain risks. We need to let go of that perfectionism and delegate and outsource our tasks to others. I have done the same thing. Now, in the B and the I quadrant, what is it that is advisable? Should you be a business owner first, or should you be an investor first? It's recommended that you become a business owner first. Because when you are able to run a business, you are able to understand how to handle systems, how to handle people. You become that capable person. And then whatever money is coming out of that business can be invested. You become a better investor by becoming a better business owner. It's also worthy of noting down that any profession can be operated out of these 4 quadrants. Let's take the example of being a teacher. If someone is a teacher, then that person can be a teacher in the E quadrant, which is employed. If that person is employed in a school or a college, then that person is a part of the E quadrant. If that particular person is taking tuitions, then that person is trading time in exchange of money and doing it mostly by himself or herself. So that person is a part of S, which is self-employed. Now, someone who is able to teach by creating certain systems or by owning certain systems, by delegating his or her work to someone else, then that person has started operating as a business. And that's how we can make that transition. We can operate out of one or even multiple of these quadrants. The choice is all up to us. This knowledge is required. This knowledge will give us the power to apply this and to operate out of any of these quadrants which we want to operate from.